All right, everybody. Welcome to our media webinar. We are really excited. Um, it looks like we have close to 100 people that have logged in, which is pretty incredible. And we're just really excited to share, whatever we can with you guys today. So obviously a lot has happened over the last few weeks. And a lot of you have kind of taken on this responsibility overnight. And some of you, this is like a dream come true because, it's like our time to shine as media people. So, but it has, brought its challenges. And, we were just talking with the teams amongst ourselves right now. Can everybody hear me? I just want to make sure. You just put like a thumbs up. Yeah? Okay, perfect. So I was just talking to the team a little while ago saying that if it's been a challenge for us at our local churches, those of us who have been doing this for a while, we've had our own challenges in the past few weeks. I can't imagine churches who had nothing set up. And so our heart definitely goes out to everybody. And this is kind of why we wanted to do this. And we wanted to do it sooner. But as you can imagine, we were busy with our churches. And so um, we wanted to really kind of just do this as soon as we can. So we're going to go ahead and begin with a prayer and just kind of pray that God would guide us in this webinar, that God would give us the wisdom to share with you guys, and hopefully you guys are able to take back all the resources that you need. So if you don't mind, just bowing your heads with me today, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you're at. God, we thank you so much for this time to come together, God, to come and share and encourage one another. Lord, we ask that you would be in the midst of this webinar, God, that you would dwell in the center, Lord, that you would bring us together and help us feel confident, Lord, in what we can share, Lord. Help us to be a resource to this world, to our local churches, to bring the best forward, to bring you glory. We give you all the praise and all the worship, and we thank you, God, for this time. In Jesus' name, amen. Awesome. So we do have most of the team here. And I'm not going to kind of introduce everybody right now because there's a lot of people on here. But as we kind of go through, you'll be able to get to meet whoever is going to be talking about each subject. And if the team can just introduce yourselves when it is your turn to talk, so that way everybody knows who we're talking to. So if you don't know me, my name is Vanessa. I am the media coordinator for the National MOP, and we have an amazing team. We've been able to do a lot of really fun things. And so I'm going to just dive right into it because we want to be able to give you guys as much as we can today. So one of the basic things we kind of want to go from basics to the more complicated aspects of everything. But one of the most basic things right now is obviously everybody is live streaming because we cannot congregate in our churches right now. So everybody is live streaming, and we've all had to kind of do this overnight. But one of the basic things that we kind of wanted to talk to you guys about was social media. So kind of making sure that your church is set up to use the platforms that we're going to share with you today. So some of the basic social medias, there's a lot out there right now, but the basic three that we feel is the most important right now is going to be Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So those are the three platforms that really are the most prominent right now when it comes to social media. There's other avenues like Twitter and different other platforms out there, but for church media right now, those are the three. So it's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So we want to make sure that you guys have the right Facebook page set up in order to use the resources we're going to share with you today. So I'm going to go to my personal Facebook and kind of show you guys different pages. I'm going to show you our church Facebook and how to create, to make sure that you're setting up. And if your church does not have the right Facebook platform or Facebook page set up, right now is a good time to kind of make that switch before you start doing any major live streaming, because you cannot move your content from one Facebook page to another. Like you would have to upload everything again. So it's really important that you have the basics set up. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. So you guys should all be able to see that. Can you guys just give me like a thumbs up so I know you guys can see my screen? Perfect. So our church Facebook is this Summit Church. And basically, you see that it's not a personal page. So it's not like people have to friend request. They can go here and they can like the page. And you have all these different, I'm an admin, so you have all these different like boost in Instagram, reach people nearby. It kind of gives you the stats of how many people have looked at your page, how many people have viewed your post and shares and your overall views and all these different grateful, good information that you guys can look for. So the way you want to make sure you have the right page set up is you go to create, and they're called Facebook page now. And you just hit page and then you choose which one you're going to do. So usually, I believe it's the community or public figure is the one that you're going to want to go with. So that's if you don't have anything set up. Now, if your church page right now is a page where people have to friend request you and it's like a personal page, then you're going to have problems when you're trying to use some of the live stream software. So you need to make sure that you're set up on a Facebook page, so that way people have to go in and like your page and all that good stuff. So once you have that set up, then you're good to go. Instagram, same thing. They don't really have too many. You can set it up as a business page is what they're called. And it links to your actual Facebook page and they integrate together. YouTube does a lot of really good stuff with integrating with Facebook as well. So you want to make sure you have those three things set up, and you want to make sure that you have the same name across all your platforms. So that's really important. So for example, our church is Summit church.life is our website address. So all of our social media pages are set to summitchurch.life. So that way people can kind of get that in their mind and they know where to go on our website, and it's consistent all across the board. So you just want to make sure you have that. You also want to make sure your avatars on your pages are your church logos. That's really important. The branding is really important. So that way when people look for your pages, they see your logo, they know they're at the right page, especially when we're trying to share this with the community. Some of our church members have never gone on to social media. So it is important that we kind of have that consistency all across the board. So let's see here. I'm going to ask Haido. I don't know if he has anything else to add to the social media aspect of it. He's on here.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you guys are doing good. My name is Haido, or Jarius. I help out the MOP team in any way that I can. But just as Vanessa said, she's been going over social media, and I think it's important as just to see how the times have changed, where social media is essential now for a church, and I think it's important for everybody to know the what social media and how it works. I'll be talking about the algorithm, because now, instead of being Facebook, Instagram, and all these social media platforms, they're not chronological order. It's run by an algorithm based on engagement. The algorithm values a post, a picture, and how many people will see it based on the engagement it has. So, with that being said, it's important for you guys to try to get as much engagement as possible on your social media posts. So, like um, the the most amount of people can see it. And you may ask, how can I get more engagement? How can I do this? Um, Something that we're doing at my local church on our live stream is, there's a 5-minute countdown before the live stream. We're doing a trivia thing on there where it's ask questions and people comment the answers. When people start commenting, engagement starts going up and up and up, and it's able to reach a wider audience because of the level of the number of comments it has. Also, if it's not a live row, it's a regular post that you did, um, it's important. What we did too at our local church is we made a Facebook group separate from our page. I just called it AOA social media engagement. Each post we make, we send it to that group chat, to that group, and each person that's in that group likes the post and comments. That way, we can get the best out of the algorithm as we can. um, and I feel like that's important, um, especially now that I feel like God switched up the way that we do things. And if we're able to help just by with one like, with a comment, to help get the gospel spread even more, um, I feel like it's we can do it. A like doesn't hurt, or comment doesn't hurt, or encouraging others to do the same would help out a lot more in general. And that was just a little bit on the algorithm. Vanessa, I don't know if you wanted to touch on anything else.
Yeah, so if I just want to mention really quick, if you guys do have questions, if you guys want to put them on the chat, we are more than happy to answer them. But just like on each subject, so right now about social media, and then once we go into the next part, you guys can ask any other questions you have, and then we'll
Mhm.
try to answer as much questions we can at the end. So just to mention on the whole algorithm thing, it is important that when you guys do go live, that you have someone designated to answer all of the comments. So that's one thing that we've been doing at our church is on Sundays, myself or one of our other team members sit at the laptop and we answer every single comment that comes in. Just because even though we are having church online, number one, we want to cater to our members, to the people from our church, and we want to make them feel like they're still part of a congregation. And church online is very different. It can get very mundane. It can get very disconnected sometimes. So it is important that you have somebody dedicated to answering all of those comments and liking them, even if it's just kind of putting a quick emoji, responding. And that also helps with your algorithm that Heido was explaining. So let me kind of answer some of these questions. So how do you do the countdown and trivia questions? So Heido, can you answer that?
Sure. So um, this is going to go into more of the live stream, which we're going to be talking about in a bit. Um, but we create our videos, we pre-record our videos, and we make our videos, and we um, get the countdowns online, the trivia questions online. If your church has a subscription to uh, a provider that provides backgrounds for like your lyrics and stuff, our church has Shift Worship. Um, they're offering um, a streaming license for all of its subscribers, so you can use all of their stuff on your live streams, and they won't. You can use it copyright free, and you're able to use other stuff. They have a lot of trivia. Is it okay if I share my screen real quick so you guys can see? Um, so this is Shift Worship. And they have a whole lot of stuff that you can use that you can play at the beginning of your live stream. Um, for example, they have this streaming collection. If I click on it real quick. So they have all these motions. All these are all motions that you can use. You can use all these things, and it's pretty much free. Join us live next Sunday. Um, this is one of the countdowns that we used. It's just like a yeah, and it just it's pretty cool. It gets the algorithm up. So yeah, this is where there's other websites that offer this, but this is the one that we use at our church. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can use on here. And yeah, that's how we do it. How we get our countdowns, and they have a whole bunch of countdowns that you can look into.
Awesome. And then also just kind of keep in mind, I know that everybody's on a different budget and your church may not be able to subscribe to these things. But a lot of these websites, they're either helping churches out right now by giving some stuff out for free, or they also have, 14, 30-day subscriptions that you guys can try out. I don't know if this particular site does or not. I know they used to, but a lot of the resources, we don't know how long this is going to last, but at least you would have something, for the next few weeks that you can help your church out with. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have the finances right now, um, you can definitely kind of take advantage of, those type of ways around it. The other question, do they have a Spanish one? I think if I'm not mistaken, Heidel, they do have some Spanish stuff on that particular website, right?
Uh, I'm not sure. I haven't checked it out.
I
What
think
we're
they
doing,
do.
they do?
Yeah, I think.
Well, for her, actually, we made our own countdown in Spanish. Um, so yeah, I mess with it. Also, what you can do too, they have just regular countdowns just with the number, and when you can put that in an editing software and add Spanish stuff to it. That's what we do as well.
Yeah,
Um,
somebody also put in their church motion graphics. They also do have Spanish content, and sharefaith.com also does have Spanish content. And those websites do have trials that you can use, and some of them also do give out free content on a weekly basis. So those are really good resources to use. Just to let everyone know, because we are getting multiple questions about this, this is being recorded and it will be uploaded after we are done with today's webinar, and we'll post the link on our social medias. So don't worry if your team couldn't make it today. We'll definitely make this available for everyone to view afterwards. I just want to go back. There was a question, and I'll have Heidel answer this one. How can we integrate all three social media platforms, connecting your Instagram to your Facebook? And vice versa. You answer that really quick?
sure. So if anything, let's say, I'm gonna just answer this based on live stream. But Vanessa went over this a little bit, going with just having the branding the same. That's a good way to interconnect everything and make everything the same. Making your graphics or your post to fit each way that is posted. Instagram, square, or long ways, Facebook, 16:9, YouTube 16:9. But for live stream, what we're using right now to be able to live stream to multiple platforms like YouTube and Facebook. Um, Unfortunately, Instagram isn't able to do. We aren't able to use Instagram to live stream. So right now, our church is just focusing on YouTube and Facebook, and what we're using is Restream. There's this platform here. Let me pull it up real quick. Um, I'm gonna show my screen in a moment. So we're using Restream, and it's you sign into all of your accounts on on um, Facebook, YouTube, and this is it right here, Restream. Restream allows you to stream live to 30 plus social platforms at once. So you can sign up for free. I think they have a free trial. And then after that, you have to start paying. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure if they have a free trial or not, but let me just check. They have, I don't want to do this right now, but this is ours right here, our churches. We're just doing YouTube, and we're using a custom RTMP to go onto Facebook. So when we schedule our post on Facebook, we can just put the stream key. And this goes a little bit more deeper, which we'll probably go into when we talk about more live stream. But Restream is a great thing that you can use. You can there has a chat option where whenever you get comments, anything, you can do it straight off of your on YouTube and Facebook. So you see everything on there. It shows you analytics. And also you can have a scheduler. You're able to, if you pre-record your services, you can upload your pre-recorded services onto this, and you schedule an event, and it goes live as if it was pre-recorded, and if it goes live as it was a live broadcast on YouTube and on Facebook. So this is a good option if you're pre-recording your services. And yeah, that kind of answers that question. That's what we use. I know there's other restreaming platforms or distributing platforms, but this is the one that I'm most familiar with right now.
Thank you. So just kind of, I'm going to wrap up the social media aspect of it, and then we're going to go into the live stream so we can dive more into that. There are some people in the comments. Brother Dominique is on here, which is so awesome. He is the media guru for the assembly. So glad he's on here. He has a crazy amount of resources. So YouTube, he said YouTube and Facebook, when set to premiere, have countdowns. So I'm not familiar with YouTube Premiere, but I'm assuming that they kind of put in a countdown, and I'm sure the guys will talk about that a little bit more. So I just want to cover, because I think what you guys are talking about is how when you have your church Instagram, how to connect it with Facebook so that it automatically uploads whatever you post to Instagram to Facebook, like on your stories. So if your Instagram is set up to do, there's in the setting part, there's a way that you can sign into your Facebook so it integrates together, so that when you share things to your story on Instagram, you should see a little Facebook icon, kind of like the same way you set up your personal Instagram. So if you have your personal Instagram set up to your personal Facebook, when you put up a story on Instagram, you'll see a little Facebook icon at the bottom of your story, and it'll automatically share to Facebook. So if you have that on your church page, then you guys are integrated and you're set up across the board. If you don't, then it's really easy. I would recommend you just Google it. That way that it gives you step-to-step guides on how to do that, but it's super easy. You just sign into your Facebook through Instagram and it pulls everything together. So really easy if you don't have to set it up again, live stream. There was one more question I wanted to get into really quick. We have an Instagram for a youth group and a Facebook page for our church. Do you recommend making a separate Instagram just for our church? I do, because the youth group page and the main church page should always be separate. So it would be good to open up an Instagram for your church. The last thing I'm going to say on social media, and then we'll move forward, is to really know your audience. For example, at our church, a lot of our members are really into Facebook. They love Facebook. So our main platform, when we were trying to set up our live stream, we knew that we really, if we had to choose, we were going to choose Facebook, between Facebook and YouTube. Now we're able to do both, but when we first kind of got up to date, we knew we wanted to do Facebook because most of our congregation is on Facebook. So know your audience. You know, you really want to know what your church is involved in, where they're at, because at the end of the day, it's great that everybody's having church online, but at the end of the day, we're doing this for our congregation, for our church members, and that is really the focus, and it should be the focus, because this is for them, and this is so that they can have church at home. So know your audience. If your audience is on Facebook, try to get that set up right away and go from there. So a lot of different people are putting different sites on the chat. So it's really awesome. If you guys have resources that you want to share, please feel free to do that, because we're here to encourage one another. And just us talking, like before you guys jumped on, we were learning things from each other. So it's really important. We're going to kind of go into the live stream aspect next. And we want to take our time on this part because we know that this is the part that everybody really needs help in right now. So we're going to go into 3 areas. We're going to go into a small budget, a medium budget, and then a higher budget. And we're going to try to give you guys as much specifics as possible, so you know what it is that you guys need. So I'm going to let Heido take over this part. He's going to moderate it and bring some of the other team members in, so we can all kind of give you guys a little bit of what we all know. All right, go ahead.
Cool. So like Vanessa said, we're going to be going into the live stream aspect of this. And just before we get into it, something that we've incorporated at our church, how Vanessa said, know your audience. Our church is has especially our Spanish congregation has older members, and sometimes they don't have Facebook or they don't know how to get on live stream or get on YouTube or whatever. So what we do is we have this one system, our communication system, and we send a mass text to all of our members with the links to the live streams 5 minutes before service. So they can just, if they have their phone, they click on that link and they're able to get directed straight to that link. So that has helped a lot, especially for our older senior members at our church that don't know how to log in. That helps them a lot. Also, we've embedded our YouTube stream into our church website. So if somebody wants to send a message to somebody, they can just go to aoachurch.com. They send that link, somebody clicks it, and it's there embedded on our website. My brother, he's the one that does all that stuff. I don't know how to do all the coding or whatever for it. But that's just something that you guys can also think about and look into. So we're going to the 3 budgets or the 3 levels that you guys can, I don't know where you find yourself in or where your church finds themselves in, but these are 3 ways that you can live stream. So first we'll be going over a smaller budget. If you don't have the camera equipment, or you're just starting, your church doesn't know what to do, or doesn't have the budget to purchase things, the most basic thing that you can do is just go live stream with the phone. And sometimes all the equipment isn't necessary. Yes, it's nice, but if you don't have means to at your disposal, then you have everybody has a 4K camera in their pocket. Although you can't stream in 4K, it's still something that you can use. Streaming with your phone on Facebook, you can stream on Facebook, you can stream on YouTube. If you want to stream on both at the same time, what you could do is, um, if you're not able to get Restream, you can have two phones, one for YouTube and one for Facebook. That's something that you can use if you don't have anything. Just use a phone. Um, you're allowed to. You can go stream on YouTube to your church's page or your YouTube. And also, there's this app called Switcher. Um, I haven't used it, and I know there's a free trial. There's a 7-day free trial for this app. After this free trial is over, you do have to pay a subscription fee. Um, but basically, you can connect different phones, um, and use different phones, different camera angles with each phone, and you're able to switch camera angles while it's live. And if I'm not mistaken, you can also add titles. You can add, like, for example, if the preacher goes up, you can add like, the speaker is pastor this and this. So you can do a lot of stuff with that. And that's something that you guys can look into. This app called Switcher right here. Um, it's pretty. I've heard of friends I've used it, and it's pretty. They've told me that it's useful. Um, and I don't know if somebody has any questions before we go on to the medium one, because I know the smaller budget one, there's not a whole lot of stuff. But if you guys have questions, please let me know. Please let us know. Let me see if I pull up the chat quick. My church is using Switcher Studio. It's great if your church doesn't have a camera. Yep. What's the best camera besides your phone? Okay, we'll be going into that in the medium one, the medium budget. Switcher Studio has 14-day trial. Is Switcher only used for mobile devices? Um, to my knowledge, yes, it's only for mobile devices because you need the app. You need the app to be able to connect. The app is basically the center of, for example, if you're using multiple phones, think about like this. This is the center. This is the phone. This is another phone. This is another phone, other phone. And all those phones are being connected to this center thing. And this is where the app controls, and you'd be able to switch to different camera angles. So you can't install a app on a camera, so I would suggest just using a phone, because I think that's all you can do. How is the quality sound? Any issues? I haven't used Switcher, but what I'm assuming is that it captures the audio from the phones as well. So the quality won't be as great if you're connecting like from your soundboard to a system. It will just be collecting the audio from your iPhones or from your Androids or whatever you're using. We tried live streaming on YouTube using our iPhone, however, it did not allow us because it said that we have to have 1,000 subscribers. How can live stream with YouTube? Okay. I think this is something that YouTube has done, because our church, we've had our Facebook account, or sorry, YouTube account for a long time. I think our YouTube account, we opened it up in 2013, and we don't have a lot of subscribers on it. We don't have 1,000 subscribers, and we're still able to live stream. So if you barely made your YouTube account, I think this is something that YouTube has done, or put a restriction on, or whatever. And I'm not too sure about that. So I'm gonna probably do some more research on it after this. But I would suggest doing some more research on it too. Only iOS though. Is that for Switcher? I think you can use any phone as long as you have the app, but I'm not sure. When our church first started streaming with a phone, we purchased a amperage mighty mic, Amazon, that connects to your phone's ear jack. It's about $40. It really helped us picking up outage. That's another option that you can use right here. You can buy a mic, connect it to your phone, and it'll have better audio. You can use an iPad, also connects to the iPad. You can, okay, dope. You can pre-record on Switcher. You can connect audio from Switchboard. Well, you see, though we're collaborating here. You can connect you can connect audio from the soundboard to Switcher. So if you have your sound engineer from your church, um, maybe they know more about sound, they can pass you a line from uh, a line, and you can connect it to the Switcher app. Okay. Try to enable live stream in your setting through your computer. Okay, so Adrian said here for YouTube, try to enable live streaming in your setting through a computer. This is something that's important to do when you're setting up your YouTube accounts. Look through all the settings, look through everything. Sometimes you find stuff that are helpful and stuff like that. So when connecting the soundboards to Switcher, assuming to plug in the main source, the main switcher with an iRig. I'm not too sure about sound right now. Brother Dominic said iRig. I'm not sure if he's referring to that. Okay, dope. You can also embed Pro Presenter on Switcher. See, I'm learning here too, guys. We're all learning. I didn't know that. That's really cool. So if you want to do lyrics, you can connect, if you have Pro Presenter, you can connect that to Switcher and it'll show up on the screen as well. Do you know anything about how well the app Cinemaker Capture works? I've never heard of that app. I've never heard of that app, but I would have to do more research. Okay. All right. So we're going to get moving on to the medium budget. And this medium budget is where you can live stream with a camera. If you want to plug in your camera to your computer, I'm going to have our guy Alex here. He's going to help us out with this area. He knows a lot more about this, and he'll go for it. Go for it, dude.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Just wave your hand. Okay. So we talked about low budget, and yes, you can connect the iRig to your phone. My friends in Oakland Church, they're doing that right now, and they're using Switcher. But the only downside is if you're going live, you got to have a good enough internet. Like for instance, us, we have 1 megabyte upload, which is not enough. We need at least 4 megabytes. So if you're going to be using Switcher and your phones, make sure they're all connected to the same internet, and it's at least 4 to 5 megabytes upload. That's the big problem. Otherwise, I would really suggest to pre-record. If you pre-record, then that way you can upload it at a better place with the internet. Okay. Yeah, so just you can connect the iRig directly to your soundbar from there. So for medium budget is if you're using a camera, like right now, I go to the Family Church in San Jose, and we don't have a big budget because we're using a lot of it to help out the brothers that have lost their jobs. So if you can spare, I would say roughly 500, about 500 or less, you can, there's about 3 things you need, 4. You need a computer, which I assume all of you have. Going back to YouTube, if you're going to be uploading to YouTube, yeah, you can't do it off your phone because of, I guess they just really want to implement like that influencer kind of thing where they have over 1,000 followers. So you can do it directly from a computer. So you just need a computer, a camera, a video capture card connected from the computer to the camera. And then if you're doing it from church, you can use your audio interface, which connects directly from the computer, from the soundboard to the computer. So a few capture cards that I found are on Amazon. I put them right here in the chat. So it's just, they're really simple. They look like this, these little devices, and all it does is sends a USB signal, converts the camera HDMI signal to USB, and then over into your computer. And then from there, you would also want to get an audio interface, and they're really cheap. You get one for like $50. I mean, obviously the audio won't be like the best as if you get like a Scarlett, like a high end or something. But if you're going low budget, you can get one for 50 to $100. Right now, the Scarlett Solo is a good one to use to connect to your computer. And then once you connect your computer, you can download a streaming platform. So there's a free one that a lot of even YouTubers use. It's called OBS, and it's free. I don't really use it because it's a little more like intuitive. You have to like running it. If you do it live, it's just you have to switch more than what you have to. Program I use is Wirecast. Um, I know my friend Sammy, he's on this call. He's from the Union City Church, and they use this program. It's a $700 program if you buy it, but if you want, they have a 30-day free trial. So that's what we're doing, because right now we don't have $700 to spend. So I'm just using 30-day free trial, and if Wirecast hears me, I'm not sorry. But after that trial's over, we'll probably use another trial. It depends how long this quarantine happens. But anyway, yeah, Wirecast is I don't know if I put it digital. Sorry. So if you use Wirecast, you can upload as many capture cards, these devices that you buy. This one we bought on Amazon for $70 because it was the only one that would do a 3-day shipping. And we bought 2 of them, and we're connecting 2 different cameras directly in, and that way we're switching from them. And then in Wirecast, you can add audio sources, videos, even pre-recorded messages and pre-recorded countdowns that you can use to click on before your service if you're doing live, or even if you're going pre-recorded as well. Yeah, someone said depending on your capture card that you purchase, some come with free streaming software as their product. I would do some research on which ones they are and what programs, and if they're really compatible with like YouTube or Facebook. I know Instagram right now doesn't have the capability of doing an third-party streaming. I hope they change that soon, because a lot of our church members are on Instagram too. So what we're doing is we tried it both ways, where we recorded live 2 Sundays ago, and then we realized that our internet it wasn't uploading fast enough. We needed at least 4 megabytes, and we had AT&T for 1 megabyte upload. So we changed that. Hopefully next week we'll be able to do that again. But so what we did this week was pre-record on Saturday, and we stayed up all night putting it together. That's why it's a medium budget. And I know that Jairo's going to talk about more about the bigger budget, which is Sling Studio, and that is more, I would say, easier if you're going to do pre-recorded, but he'll talk about that. So what we did was just put the inputs in Wirecast, and then there's an option to stream and there's an option to record, and we recorded onto my computer. And from there, we just, I put in Final Cut and I just cleaned it up, and we put in the videos that we had. And then if you don't have a camera, honestly, Jairo said it earlier, you could use a 4K camera, but because it's a higher quality, the streaming will be more laggy. So you can buy cameras like this. Hold on. There's these cameras that, for instance, this Sony camcorder is about 250 bucks. So that's like half your budget right there on a camera. And all you have to do is HDMI out into the capture card. And then from the capture card, you just send it directly to your computer using Wirecast or OBS or any third-party streaming software that you like or you think is better. Any questions? Someone said there's a program called Lola. It creates a fake RT. Yeah, so RTMP is your hyperlink, your link that you use. So if you're using a YouTube channel and you pre-create a stream, they give you an RTMP, which is a link that you use on these other softwares, and you put that in there, and that way it connects your account to what you're streaming, so that you're able to send that stream directly to YouTube or Facebook. Someone said our Wi-Fi went down on Sunday, going live. One thing we're planning on doing is pre-recording. Yeah, so going back to YouTube, you can pre-record during the week. And then what we did was there's a function called Premiere on YouTube, which lets you select a certain time to upload your video. So for instance, if you have Sunday services at noon, you just select Sunday at 12 p.m. And then come Sunday, your video would be streaming as if it was live, and then it will create a chat feature on the side so that you can be able to chat with all your church members and make sure to let them know, like, be active in our chat, and that way they feel included. So it's a pretty cool feature that I recommend. Yeah, so someone asked, do you need a different capture card for each camera? Yes. So if you're going with medium budget, these are the cheaper option. They do individual cameras, but there are switchers which are more pricey. So there's a Blackmagic switcher that's about $250, but right now, I don't know if you guys seen it online, but it's on back order because I feel like everyone's trying to get it. But it lets you input four cameras and you're able to switch. There's another one by Roland that it's about $1,000, and that one also lets you input 4 cameras and switch. Can we record and upload on Facebook like it was live? I'm not sure about that. I believe so. If you're using programs like Restream, Hyro, do you know if that is possible?
Yeah. So basically, that's what we're doing right now. We're pre-recording, and we're using Restream to on Restream. There's this feature that you can upload a video that you already made, and it'll stream it live, as if it was live onto your Facebook platform or your YouTube platform, and it's pretty useful. Also, Alex was mentioning the Facebook Premiere, which is, I think it's basically the same thing as live. And before we go on, I'm gonna just share my screen and show you guys how to do it real quick. That way you guys, if you do pre-record your services and you aren't able to get all the live streaming equipment or all that stuff, this is what you can use. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so I'm on our YouTube, I'm in our Facebook page, right? And I go to upload. and I go to, let's just put this one. Okay, let me redo that because this thing's lags real quick. Ay Libertad, this is one of our pre-recorded songs we made. And this is how to write your title. I'm just gonna, celebration service, and then you do all your, your stuff. Tags, it's important to do this. On tags, what I usually do is I put our church name, because sometimes people just go on YouTube or Facebook on the search and they just tap in the name, and that's something that will help direct them to that. And then when you're done with all this stuff, filling all this stuff out, you can tag people. You can add how you're feeling, checking in. You go to publishing options and you click Premiere. Here you set the time and date, everything, and you can add an image. For example, add an image, and I'll add this one, join us live. And then once you post that, it'll make an announcement. And on that announcement, people can click on there to get a reminder, a reminder what time they're gonna go live. So they get a notification when the video does premiere. So I think that's really useful. It's basically once the video starts premiering, it's as it's live, how Alex said. You can comment, and you can encourage people on how Premiere works, and then you just publish and you're good to go. Alex, anything else?
Yeah, so I was looking over the questions. Someone said that there's a streaming platform called vMix. That one right now has a 2-month free trial. So if that one looks better, or I mean, it doesn't look like we're going to be out of this for anytime soon. So the 2 months free is a good budget alternative if you want to go into that. But I still suggest Wirecast. It's I would say more of the industry standard. I know of a lot of churches in the area here in the Bay Area, they use Wirecast. It's really user friendly. OBS, if you want to go completely free, OBS is great. A lot of people use that one, and yeah, I suggest just do more research on which third-party video streaming. I know there's a list on YouTube that they provide, which is like compatible with them. So just if you're gonna go completely live, make sure your internet is high so that you're able to do it. Otherwise, I would suggest pre-recording, and if you pre-record, you have more of a ability to edit and rehearse your worships. I know a lot of people, they get shy in front of the camera, or they feel like they can't preach to a camera. They feed off the people in the audience. So if you pre-record, it helps out a lot. You can just like rehearse your worship and figure out your audio. I know that we're going to be doing a rehearsal this week because our audio didn't come out that great this Sunday. So we're going to go more in depth and like just figure out our audio, and I know also video, the quality. So pre-recording, I suggest, is a better alternative to going live, because I know Facebook and YouTube, you can set your Premiere now for both of them, so that way you can be at home watching instead of being at church, being all nervous while everyone else is watching you. So you guys have any other questions for that? Just leave them in the comments, and I'll make sure to answer them. And I think we're going to go now to large budget.
I just want to jump in really quick, guys, and I know that this is a lot of technical terms, and I know we have different levels of experience on here, and it can get a little overwhelming because there's a lot of, these guys are gurus at what they do. So just don't be discouraged. I just kind of want to jump in. There's a lot of technical things, but there are very simple ways to do this. So I'm going to put in like some contact information. So if you guys want to contact us directly, just to kind of, you know, explain things over again if we need to. But I do want to kind of go into a little bit, just a side note here into the pre-recording, just because as everyone's kind of stating, it is the best thing right now to do, especially because every location right now has different group restrictions. So based on where you live, you are allowed to have 5-10 people in one place. So we also do have to keep in mind with that as well. Usually, you know, a production like this would take up to 20 or more people in a regular setting, but we're all restricted right now. And so I kind of want to have Brother Asael, who has been doing the pre-recording at our church, kind of explain what we've done. So actually at this moment for Summit Church, we actually have about 2 weeks worth of content already set up, just because we've tried to take precautions so that we're not meeting so much. So we already have a few weeks worth of content, and we wanted to do more, but because of the restrictions, we're trying to hold back as much as possible. But I want him to kind of come in and explain what our process has been, what he's had to do, because we have had some technical hiccups as well, and kind of what that pre-recording looks like as far as bringing in your teams. We've brought in our teams at different times of the day so that we don't have a lot of people in the building at one time. So if he can just kind of briefly go into that, and then we'll go into the higher aspect of live streaming and what those programs look like. So Brother Asael.
Praise the Lord, everybody. So pretty much we've had a very different process just because we wanted to be very cautious of the way that we're dealing with everyone involved. You know, some of the people that are coming in to help us are a little bit older. Some of them just had kids or are pregnant, hence my wife. So we've definitely been trying to be in control as much as possible, especially throughout this time. So I know Heidel and Lex, you know, they're very, very savvy with the actual equipment and stuff like that. But for us, we've tried just to maximize on what we have, and we've tried not to. I know we've been working on possibly getting us the Sling service or that tool, but what we've done is just kept it as simple as possible. So as of right now, we're running pretty much, I think we have 3 cameras for sure. Sometimes we try to do a 4th, and we keep it very simple because once you have your camera, your DSLR, or you're using a mirrorless camera, obviously you're going to be using your memory card. And all we have is, so the camera is the memory card and a hard drive that we're putting everything into. And it requires a little bit more work on my end, but obviously we have to make it happen at the end of the day. And we're pretty much putting everything together through Final Cut. As Sister Vanessa was mentioning, one thing that we're being very cautious of is the fact that things can change at any given moment. So that's why we took the step of having our praise team come in. We were going to do 3 consecutive days, but we figured maybe they deserve a break. So as of right now, we do have the 2 weeks that we have worth of content for the singing and the worship. One thing that you want to keep in mind, obviously is going to be the visual presentation. So we always remind them, you know, make sure you wear something different, you know, so we can continue to have that perception. And then we record the sermon with my pastor at a later time, and it allows for us a lot more simpler setup. Pretty much just one camera facing him, me standing on the side, and maybe one other person, and his translator. So at that point, we were able to condense everything to just a 5 people kind of production, you know, and 2 of them being the ones that we are recording all together. So that's kind of the approach that we've been taking. One side note that I'd definitely like to add, because I've seen it kind of a consistent pattern, that sometimes we're trying to get a little too creative to where we forget that I've seen some live streams where the pastor is always looking one away from the camera, one thing to just keep in mind is you want to have a camera that's going to essentially represent the audience or the congregation, a camera that every the pastor or the preacher is going to be looking into, so that there can be that sort of connection. But yeah, that's pretty much the approach that we've taken, and that's pretty much it. Unless there's something else, Sister Vanessa. Yeah.
No, that's good. So like I said, we're taking all the footage, and he has the responsibility of editing it and putting it together in Final Cut. Obviously, it's a longer process, but it's something that's working for us right now. We had a goal to set up our live stream in this summer, but we had to do this overnight. So this is what's working for us right now. So I'm going to go ahead and let Haida go into the higher ends of live stream for you guys to learn about.
Real quick, I'm gonna just jump in on one question that I saw here from Brother Marcos Ochoa. I know Heidel's probably going to touch on the way that he's doing it with having the Sling Studio. So just so you guys know, if you guys do take the approach of not having this resource, which is the Sling Studio, that's going to help essentially create your timeline or almost the entire video altogether at once. If you don't have that flexibility or that resource, what I end up having to do is essentially I drop in one clip at a time and I have to match the sound. So you're literally dragging it and you're being as precise as possible. And then that's where I think ultimately this is where there's a beauty in this whole situation, that it's forcing our hand to be able to all work together. And then what I end up doing is getting the actual really, really nice sound from the guy that controls the soundboard. He just gives me an audio file. And again, I just drop it straight into Final Cut. And there I go again, just moving it little by little until it sounds just right. So for those of you that don't have, I think the Sling Studio was like $3,500. If you don't have that kind of money just to spend, that is another avenue that you guys can definitely take. So again, it is a little bit more work, or a lot of bit more work, but it's definitely worth it.
I think Amazon.
And just to kind of, I know there's a lot of questions coming in, but somebody touched on something really important. They said, for churches who are not used to live streaming and pastors not comfortable speaking in front of the camera, how can we encourage them? And I know this is a big problem right now, because we have a lot of pastors who are now online pastors, and it's difficult. So it actually, just kind of like a side funny thing that happened in our church, our praise team, one of the first things that they said, they said they wanted to make sure we got it right, because they didn't want to end up on, I think it's Church Milk or whatever that Instagram page is. That is literally the first thing that came out of our first rehearsal, was that they wanted to get it right, because they didn't want to end up on Instagram somewhere. So it is nerve-wracking, but for us, we try to make our service as much of a service as possible. So our worship team has done an incredible job with our recordings, our services. Like we are literally worship, and there's been moments where the camera's turned off and we're still in the presence of God. So really it's really important, because when you're doing media, it can be really easy, and I know we're going off topic and we'll get back on topic, I promise, but it can be really easy to kind of see it as a production, and things can get fake very quickly. But this is not a moment for that. This is a moment where I have always said that church media is putting a face to God's message. And this is the moment where we need this the most, because we cannot congregate somewhere. We cannot have our church come, and we need God to be in our houses and in our homes. And as a media team, it's our responsibility to help that happen. And so it's really important that our teams understand this as well. And when it comes to your pastors, they'll get used to it. It'll take them a few tries, but they'll get used to it, they'll get comfortable with it. As a lot of people are saying, this is the new normal, which I don't believe it is. I think, I'm praying that we are able to go back into our congregation soon. But for now, this is a great practice for our pastors to get on board with what we have been trying to have them come on board with, right? So it's really exciting, and I would just have you encourage your teams that even though this is a recording, whether you're pre-recording or going live, this is a service. And every time I walk into the sanctuary, I feel so privileged now, because I know not everybody, there's people that haven't gone to a church sanctuary in weeks and months. And so as part of the team, I feel so grateful that I'm able to walk into a sanctuary where I walk in and I instantly feel peace. And I know this is my moment to have my worship time with God, and I feel privileged that I'm able to do that. So if we kind of change our mindset a little bit, it transmits through the camera and through our feed. So it's really important. So I know we got off topic. We'll go back into the live stream, and I'll let Heido go into the next part.
Yeah, that's so true, Vanessa. I think how you said it, this isn't going to be the normal, but it's our reality right now, and something that we have to adapt to. And I would just want to chime in a little bit on that, if I can. Going on, I'm a PK, I'm a pastor's kid, so I understand when when people don't feel comfortable in front of cameras and this stuff like that. Fortunately, my father, he's a little bit more comfortable and he's able to do that. But it's just totally different when you're speaking to a camera than a group of people. So I would just encourage your pastor or whoever's going to be speaking, that behind that camera, there's a group of people that are watching, that are hearing the word of God. And at our church, we've received testimonies already of people that they just share the link with their family members or with somebody that hasn't gone to church in a while, and God touches them through our live stream. They sent us testimonies that people were weeping and crying because the word of God is making an impact in their life. So I encourage you, tell your pastors if they don't feel comfortable, just tell them, the word of God is what has the power. The word of God has the power to change people. And you can use this tool, recording, live streaming, to change people's lives and help them turn to Jesus. And so that's just a little bit on that.
Really, really quick,
Go ahead.
We actually have Pastor Jacob on here, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So glad that he's here. So I'm going to have him speak a little bit to this, and we'll go back into it. But if he can jump in, that would be great.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you. And praise the Lord, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. I don't want to interfere too much with this training. I'm so glad that you all have responded. The MOP, we want to do everything we can to help the church. That's what this is all about. So I really appreciate Sister Vanessa, Heido, Alex, all the other team members for taking time out of their schedules. And thank you all for joining this webinar. It's been very informative. And I think that we're all in this together. I just wanted to chime in real quick, especially when I started hearing about the fact that, there are pastors who are adjusting to this new normal. And that includes me. I thought I was tech savvy. Come to find, I'm not so tech savvy. We think because we have cell phones and social media that we're in the know, and you come to realize there's a whole lot more going on. And so hats off to each and every one of you who are taking an active interest in this area. The church really, really needs you right now. On this call, I have my two media members from my local church, Andrew and Kevin, and I don't know what I would do without them. You are the real MVPs. I'm telling all of you right now. And this is a moment, not just pat yourself on the back, but to be a blessing to your church and to your pastor. I can say as a pastor myself, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have my media team right now. So if there's ever been a time to realize that this is relevant, it's relevant. And what you're doing is very relevant. I want to say, I think the pre-recording is an excellent option, especially for pastors who either are maybe a little older, not as comfortable speaking in front of cameras, or just, just may need a little extra help. That's a great, great option. In fact, I'm even considering doing that just because it gives you an opportunity to edit, add the bells and whistles that you want to, because ultimately we're delivering an experience. Don't forget about that. And whether it's live or pre-recorded, we're delivering an experience for our members, for souls. So even I'm considering that. And I think that's a great option. So talk about it with your pastor, present it as a solution, present it as, pastor, hey, this is something that we think would be good, because don't bring out his weakness. That's what I want to say. Don't make him feel bad about it. Don't say, it's all in the approach. Just say, pastor, we really want to help. And we were thinking in order to kind of provide the best experience, but don't make him feel like he's the one holding you back. Just want to put that out there. Okay. And I think it's going to help quite a bit in adapting and innovating in this season. So I'm going to let you all continue, but I just wanted to welcome you and provide a little bit of my perspective, and learn as much as you can. There's a lot of information here, and I'm learning as well. So God bless each and every one of you. And Sister Vanessa, thank you for letting me chime in here.
Awesome. Thank you, Pastor. So such a good point that he brought up is, try to make your pastor as comfortable as possible. I'll just mention one last thing with our church. One of the things that has really helped Brother Asael is because he's editing it, we do have to do everything in one take. So the worship team, we go through our whole worship set, and if we mess up and stop, we have to start all over again. So I think last week on Thursday, we did a worship set about 3 times in one night, and we all got home around 1:30 in the morning. So it was insane, but that is something that you do have to be mindful of, that it makes the editing so much easier and smoother. So we will move on, because I know we are all anxious to hear about spending thousands of dollars on some new equipment. So we'll try to give you guys as much resources as possible for these fancy equipments. Like the guy said, a lot of the stuff is on back order, so some of these things may be hard to find right now, but it is worth educating yourself, especially if this is going to be something a little bit long term. So Haida, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah. That's true. Everybody that's pre-recording, they're putting in a bunch of work. Shout out to Asael and to everybody that's pre-recording. So yeah, we'll get into the larger budget now. This is something that it's not like it is spending like a lot of money, but it's something that I know our church has made an investment. To be honest, we had at our church we had the equipment, but we just hadn't set it up yet. We had bought it a few months before, but we weren't ready to start to implement it at our church yet. So now that this came around, we had to do it. We had to adjust. So the larger budget, and I know Asael has some experience with this as well, is and as well as Lexar, is live streaming with multiple cameras. So right now at my church, what we're doing is we're pre-recording. We have 4 different camera angles, and we have our audio connected to Sling Studio. And Sling Studio is basically a camera capturing device that is able to do it wirelessly. So if you have your camera, you connect a transmitter to the Sling Studio transmitter, and that Sling Studio transmitter sends the image to the device, and you're able to pre-record everything. You're able to record and live stream, but we're just doing recording for now. And it connects all of the cameras. It's recording everything, each thing separately, basically. So it's recording one camera separately, another camera separately, another camera separately. And what that makes it do, it makes it much easier in the editing process. So Sling Studio is, it's around I believe it's around $2,000, and it comes with the tower, which is one of the receiver, and it comes with 4 transmitters, and those 4 transmitters are what you connect to the camera. And how you control this is with an iPad, or you can use your computer. You just download their app, and you're able to record and do everything on there. This has become, for us, it's been huge on when we record everything, makes everything a lot easier. So we're gonna get into as well as cameras right now. Cameras. What we're using right now, I have my camera right here. Let me get it real quick. So what we're using, I'm using this right here. This is a Sony A7 III. This is a more higher budget camera that you can look into, A7 III. And there's also, Sony has a lot of great cameras. They have the Sony A6300 or the Sony A65. All of these are great cameras that, you know, they help a lot in everything, especially for video. But also the Sling Studio, you can connect any type of camera as long as it has the HDMI output or input. So Sling Studio, you're able to connect your audio from your soundboard. If you're recording at church or wherever you're recording at, you're able to click or not click, get a line out from your board and connect it to the Sling Studio. That way you can have the best audio as possible. And yeah, Lexar, he sent in the link to Sling Studio, and you guys can check it out on there. So that's what we're using. And we also Restream. We use Restream, the thing that we were talking about earlier, to distribute to multiple platforms. So with that being said, oh, actually, with Restream, with Sling Studio, you can also connect your phone to it. You can use your phones as cameras. And that's something that we've been doing. We have 2 main cameras. We have the Sony 63, and we have a Sony A6500, and we're using 2 other phones. So you don't always have to have like the best equipment or the best image, as long as you're able to make it look as best as possible. With that being said, we use, in our live stream, we use 2 phones. We use one for the drums, one for the middle, and then the 2 cameras on 2 different angles on a what's it called? On a Ronin Steadicam. Is Sling Studio available for Mac and Windows? Yes, you can use it on anything. Can you switch your? Okay, can you guys see my screen? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so this is what we're using. Asail, I don't know if you want to tap into this a little bit, or Lexar. This is what our church is doing. We use Sling Studio. I know there's different ways that you can use multiple cameras and not have Sling Studio, but just use multiple cameras. Alex, do you want to chime in a little bit on that?
Yeah, so Sling Studio is honestly, it's the best for multiple cameras. We used it at convention when we recorded the music video for the MOP album. It's you can record onto a memory card as well if you have the hub. Just put in a memory card and you could be able to record. And then once you record in, you're able to go onto Final Cut, and it gives you all the camera angles, and you can edit even more precise off of there. Jairo said that there's other ways if you can't afford Sling Studio. I know that Adam is on here. He's from Union City. Over there, they use an ATEM system. So it's a video switcher. It's online for about $1,000 as well. The medium one of them, and you're able to, I believe, input 8 cameras via SDI or HDMI. And once you put it in, you're able to switch with the switcher, and then with the software, record or live stream straight on your computer, both Windows and Mac. There's also Blackmagic.
I don't know that.
Sorry, Blackmagic also has Blackmagic Design, not the actual Blackmagic, has a software. I believe it's the same with the ATM. So there's other means other than Switch Studio, but right now I would suggest Sling Studio because that one is able to integrate with phones, so you can download the app and use different phones. I think there's a limit of 4 phones or 10 phones, so that way it's like Switcher, but it's more advanced, and you're able to do all that through it. Yeah, Jairo.
Yeah, so this is the website right here. Says Sling Studio is temporarily out of stock. Please visit our reseller sites. So because of the surge of live streaming, they're sold out right now. But if you're looking into it, you can find a reseller and do more research on it. You can go on their website, and for us, it's been amazing. It's made everything a lot easier. And yeah, this is the transmitter right here that you connect to your camera, the camera link. This is the studio, the hub, where everything gets transmitted to. And yeah, so this is how it works right here. You can use any camera. You can use a camcorder, a DSLR, mirrorless, smartphone, or even like a GoPro type camera. You just connect it to the transmitter, the camera link right here. Smartphones, you don't have to use a camera link. You can just download the app, or you can go straight to HDMI to Sling Studio. And this right here, you connect external storage, a SD card, or you can also connect a SSD, whatever you want, and you can save and pre-record and record everything onto that. Then this is where your iPad or your Mac or your PC, whatever you have, you download the app to your computer, and here you control everything. As you can see here, you can switch in and out from each image and stuff like that. So this is a good representation of how it works. So Sling Studio is amazing. I love it. I don't know if I know at Summit you guys are gonna start using it soon, I believe. But yeah, if you guys have any questions regarding this, let us know. Alex, I know you went over what was it, the without Sling Studio, and that was the, what was it, the 8-channel, what was it called?
Okay, so Adam from Union City, he just put it
Okay.
in the chat. So that's what they use, and it's an alternative to Sling Studio. It's just the device alone is about $1,000, and if you have the budget for that, and you're able to input cameras via SDI, which is another signal instead of HDMI, but there are converters for that. I believe they have an HDMI device, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think there
But
there
what
is
you
an
can do,
HDMI cutover. I know Sammy, if he's on, he's also part of that. But yeah, we have. I think for that that modular, you can set up 8 channels. We have about, I think, 4 cameras now, but they're adding additionals just for baptistry and stuff like that that we can do after. But yeah, it's pretty powerful. So you can cut through, and pretty good crossovers as well.
thank you, Adam. Yeah, you're able to do that, and also you can go wireless. There's wireless connections you can put on cameras as well. But if you do want to go truly like wireless, like Hyro was saying, the Stream Studio, the Sling Studio is able to do that. You have to buy the camera links, which are roughly $350. I think they are $350, and you just attach them onto your HDMI capable cameras, and from there they connect to the hub, and you're able to go wirelessly around. I think for that you can connect up to 10 cameras, but that's going to run you, each device is 350, so it's going to go up. But you have the option to do phones too. Sling Studio is a really good system, and also the Blackmagic Design ATEM system, which Adam just talked about, is also a good alternative if you have the budget for it.
Yeah, so Sling Studio, they do have some on Amazon. For just the base, it's $999, and the complete kit, it's currently unavailable. So they have this, which is the hub and the camera link for 1,346. This is something that you guys can look into. You guys are interested. And there was a question on here. So the question is, so you still have to edit on Final Cut? Yes. So what makes it so awesome that Sling Studio does is that when you record everything, Sling Studio has this one feature where it converts what you recorded, all the cameras, everything, and it converts it to a Final Cut project for you. Once you convert it to that Final Cut project, everything is set in it's basically set up for you. All you have to do is just cut each clip to show which one you want to do. So it's everything set up. You just have to do the little minimal cutting, and it's all set up for you. That's what makes it so easy for us to edit. And that's what we use to pre-record. We can use that to live stream as well, but right now we're doing everything pre-recorded. And how do you connect Easy Worship or Pro Presenter for lyrics? So you're able to do that as well. You can connect the lyrics. We're not doing that right now. What we're doing is when we're editing the videos on Final Cut, we just add the lyrics ourselves. And we just do like basically the lyrics on the bottom. And that's what makes it's a little bit harder like that. But since we edit at home, and then our Pro Presenter stuff is at church, we usually don't have access to it. So
just really quick on that. for us, because we're pre-recording, we do have a lyrics person there. So we haven't started doing it, but it is really easy to set up lower thirds on ProPresenter. And then just your lyrics person is connected to whatever feed needs to be connected, and it'll show up as well. So it is pretty simple. Or you can also add it like Heido was saying, but that's a little bit more tedious. But yeah, I just wanted to add that into it.
Yeah.
For that, so with Sling Studio, I suggest on the hub, if you look at the hub, there's an input. It's an HDMI input. So what you can do is connect from your computer into the hub, and they'll give you a slot specifically for your computer screen. So it's like a dual screen, but you can just put your ProPresenter or Easy Worship second screen into the hub directly and then put it in lower thirds. I believe there's a green screen option, but I'm not sure. I know that ProPresenter 7, the new one, you can send a feed directly that's just lyrics, and you'll overlay onto your recording. But I don't think anybody has 7 right now, so that's a cool feature that's coming out. They came out on that. What you could also do is, if you're using another system, like we talked about in Medium, you can use one of the video capture cards, and same thing. From your computer, you just send the feed through the card and onto your software, and you're able to leave that as a lower thirds, or however you want to fix it. So there's ways of doing that if you're going live stream. But if you're pre-recording, I suggest the same way, just putting them in after, but that, like Vanessa said, it's a little tedious. But if you do want to do it as you're recording, you can go in directly through a feed off of ProPresenter. I'm not sure about Easy Worship. I haven't used that in years. So yeah.
Yeah. So there's a question right there. Is Sling Studio best for pre-recorded or works fine with live streaming? It works great for both. It works great for both. Right now, we're deciding to pre-record because we feel that's what's best for our church. But if your church wants to live stream, Sling Studio is amazing as well. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, I don't know if Asael or one of our other media members want to chime in on something. I know I'm not sure if Absalon's still in here, but at his church they're pre-recording, and they're doing some other stuff differently. They're using something else other than Sling Studio. But if you have any other, there's a question right here.
So I'm actually gonna
Go ahead.
I saw the question for best. If you guys have, we're gonna kind of go into like a general part now. So if you guys have any questions, please type them in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can before we kind of end this webinar. But there's a question: what is the best option for online giving? And I'm actually gonna ask Brother Dominique if he does not mind jumping in on here. Just because I know he has a little bit more experience with online giving and what the different platforms are. So, Brother Dominic, do you mind?
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say thank you to you guys for putting this on. This is awesome. We at our church, we use PushPay. We've been using it for over a year now, and it seems to be working really well. We've seen an increase of online giving. However, the assembly has set up a partnership with Card Knocks, and we have been communicating with your pastors and your general treasurers how they can set that up at that level so that you guys can have ways for giving. I would seek that out to see if your church has got the information, and if they haven't, just present it to them again. And those are the two that we're using, and they seem to be working really well. I'm not sure what everybody else is using, but PushPay works really well. Can you guys hear me by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the two that I've been familiar with and have been using. There may be others out there. I know I've heard of other churches using the Cash App, setting up account with the church as a Cash App so people can give that way, because that's pretty quick and easy. But it doesn't allow for all the accounting aspects of it. But to get up, to have something this weekend, the Cash App works. Venmo, all those little apps where you can, pay for things and give. But the
Awesome.
assembly is shooting for using Card Knocks because they're giving you a great discount on setting that up.
Perfect. That's awesome. So
Can I say
hopefully,
one other thing too?
yeah, go for it.
The assembly would like to set up a landing page per Bishop Fortino on the assembly's website of those churches that are streaming live. As we all know, not all churches are able to do this, whether they're just small and in areas that they don't have a large congregation, but he would like to have a place where they can go and be able to select multiple churches and look at these we're going to have so many great preachings online. It's unbelievable what's happening. God is working in a mighty way with this and bringing us all together. I'm listening to preachers that I never could listen to other than if I see them at convention or at an activity. Now we can just, go online, search for the church, and listen to someone that we'd like to listen to, which is great. So I put my email address in there. It's pr@apostolicnet.org. If you send me an email with your church's information for Facebook and YouTube, I will go ahead and post that on the landing page that has yet been created, because I've just been given that task, and then I'll post it there so people can watch your sermons.
Brother Dominic, curious, this is Adam from Union City. Curious is there a negotiated rate through Card Knocks? Because I know typically it's like a 2.9 plus 30 cents per transactions for most people.
I know as of right now, they're giving us no setup charges.
Okay.
I think that's their discount to help churches out right now, to get everybody on their platform. And I guess that'll last until we get out of this situation, and then things kind of go back to normal.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brother Dominique. So yeah, those were a couple of websites: PushPay, Card Knocks. I know churches are doing Venmo, Cash App. We host our website through Squarespace, and Squarespace works with Stripe. And so it was a very super easy integration. And then they also have a PayPal option. So sometimes your sites that host, like people that host your site also have a partnership with certain online giving things. So we'll go ahead and move on. There's a lot of questions coming in. Let's see here.
I see a question that I want to answer real quick. Jocelyn said, do you recommend creating a link tree for the church's social media and other platforms? So I recommend doing that. That's what we did for our church. Each pre-recording that we do, each live stream, we're encouraging people to connect with us. If for some reason a person came across our video that hasn't gone to church and they're like, I want to connect with church. I had an encounter with God through this, and I want to connect. What we made is we made different landing sites where people can go to. We made a landing site for a connection where they can connect with our church. They can connect with something that we're doing, as well as virtual friendship groups. And they can sign up to connect to a virtual friendship group through that link. So what we're doing with Linktree is we're having a button for connection, a button for giving, a button for our main website, and our button for our YouTube channel. And what we do is we add that to the description of our live stream. And throughout our live stream, we say, if you want to connect or give, click the link. and that link is right there and has everything set up there. So it makes it much easier instead of having multiple links and stuff like that. People can get confused.
Awesome, thank you. So just gonna kind of go into, somebody asked about Photoshop and graphics. And then also somebody asked about software to edit video. So I do want to put in here, if you guys do not have the Adobe software, you can get a bundle. I believe it's about $30 a month. And they allow you to download all of their software, so you can get Final Cut Pro, which is where most of us who are pre-recording are editing our videos. You'll get Final Cut Pro, you can get Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom, which is a photography editing app. So you can basically have access to all of their apps, and you pay a subscription monthly. So that is really helpful for graphics. I don't want to go too deep into it because it is a lot, but what I do recommend is that you go onto YouTube. If you've never used Photoshop, look up some basic tutorials on how to use Photoshop, and even Final Cut Pro. Any of these softwares that we've used today, there are a ton of tutorials out there that will help you get the basics down, as well as a lot of these websites do have their own tutorials that they've put out. So like Adobe has a lot of tutorials that you can watch as well. I'm sure Sling Studio, there's stuff out there as well that you can pick up and watch, just to kind of educate yourself. It will take a little bit of time, but we're all in quarantine, so we have time right now, and this is a good time to educate yourself on how to work these programs. There are a few free graphic places that you can go. For apps, there's an app that's really popular called Over. This is one of the main apps that a lot of people use. It pretty much has things set up for you. It's kind of a drag and drop situation, and you can purchase different fonts. There's different memberships. It's really developed over the years. But Over, it's an app really good to help you make graphics. There's also an online website that I like to recommend to people. It's called canva.com. And that is pre-made graphics that basically you just edit the text. You can switch out the picture if you want, and you export the image. So they have different tiers of things that you can purchase as well, but they also have a basic free app. I see Jessica on here. I'm going to ask her to share. I know she uses some apps to create graphics, so I'm going to ask her what apps that she uses to kind of create some graphics.
Praise the Lord, everyone. So I do use an app called Procreate, which you can download on your iPad. It's $10, but it's so awesome. I've used it to do animations or just graphics for church. It's very similar to Photoshop, which I have some experience with. It's the same concept, but it's just easier to navigate. Like she had already mentioned, Over in Canva before I started using that. And it's super awesome tool if you're not used to creating things on your own from scratch. So definitely Procreate.
Awesome, thank you. If you don't mind just typing that in the chat, Jessica, that would be super helpful. And then Judith, I don't know if you have any other recommendations just from the graphic point of view.
Praise the Lord, everyone. So the only besides Canva and Over and Procreate, the other recommendations I have would be the Adobe programs, which is Illustrator, InDesign, and Photoshop. And those are a little more advanced, but on YouTube, there's so many tutorials, and I would recommend InDesign for text and Photoshop for design and effects. So InDesign's great when you're trying to make a logo or the text for your church. I would recommend that program.
Awesome, thank you. So we're going on hour 2 on this webinar, and I know that there's so much information that we can share. but I do kind of want to bring it home. Like I said, maybe we'll be able to do another one next week, just to kind of do a recap and kind of share a little bit more, maybe have a little bit more interaction with everybody. But I hope that this was helpful and useful. I do want to mention just a few things. I do want to be mindful of our pastors out there. Obviously, this is very new to them, as Pastor Jacob was kind of gave us some good input. This is new to them, and a lot of times, you know, it can be scary at the same time, especially for our older pastors. I'm a PK, so you know, as PKs, you kind of have the advantage of, hey, dad, you know, let's do this, or it's a little bit easier, but not everyone has that advantage. And all of this technology can be scary when our pastors don't understand. So, like I said, try to educate yourself so that you can educate your pastor. We have to remember at the end of the day, this is a privilege to be able to serve in the media. And just because we are a necessity per se now, we always have to remember that we are here to serve. And at the end of the day, our pastor is the overseer and the prophet of the church. So align with his vision, understand what he wants, and let's do our best to kind of put a face to that vision, like I said. The other thing I did want to mention was that we do want to be respectful of the guidelines. We did mention a lot about pre-recording and all of that stuff. And like I mentioned before, everyone right now in different counties has different guidelines. So just adhere to that. Make sure that, you know, you are being careful and we're taking the precautions and all that stuff. Obviously, we want to be careful. We want to know what's allowed, what we can and cannot do. And at the end of the day, you know, we're here to serve our church. This is for our church, and it's great that we have such a huge audience now. You know, we have the capability of having thousands of views and bringing so much exposure to our church and to our communities. But at the end of the day, we are having online churches for our congregations. And that is one thing that I really appreciate about our pastor. You know, he's been reminding us it's really amazing what we've been able to accomplish, but we are here to serve Summit Church, which is my church. And so we're here to serve our congregation and to cater to our congregation. So really important. I know that there are questions coming in. We will be uploading the link to this recording on our social media. So we'll go ahead and you'll see a post. We'll give you the link. We'll have it on our website as well.
Vanessa's sister, Mafei, has 2 questions that I think she wrote there, and she just wasn't sure if you all saw those.
What are the questions? I didn't
let's see, where was it? The first one was, PTL, will you be helping us with conference calls? Need help on viewing all participants on Zoom using different devices? And the second question is, for pre-recording from a mobile phone, what video size is best?
Okay, so for the conference call, there's a few websites that you can do. Zoom.com is one of them, which is the avenue we're using today. So they can call in, they can video in, they can download an app on their phone. As far as getting them all on video, right now we have almost 100 people on this call, but we only have whoever you can see on the camera has opted to put on their video. So there's 62 participants who have opted not to put on their video. So if you can't see them, it's because they chose not to turn on their camera. That is an option that the user has. But they're able to call in, they're able to log in onto their computer. There is a basic membership. You do have to pay for it. You do have to pay for Zoom. There is a website called Free Conference Call that is absolutely free. You can have conference calls. However, there's no video capability. You can also do GoToMeeting as well. They have different memberships as well, and you can also do Google Hangouts. I don't know how many people you can have on Google Hangouts, but that is also a free option as well. But everybody has to have a Gmail account. So to answer that, and then the second question was the video size. So Heido, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. So if you're recording with your phone, just the way that it's recording is fine. If it's at 1080p, which it will most likely be at 1080p, it's fine. You can, if you're pre-recording, I would suggest instead of recording like this, like, what is this, vertical, right?
Mm-hmm.
Change it like this to horizontal. That way it's a better image, and this is like it's called 16:9, the aspect ratio, and this is what Facebook streams on, and it's just a better image quality, depending on the viewer. If you're viewing it on a laptop, it's better to record like this, so it can be full screen. And yeah, so I would just suggest to record like this, and yeah, I believe 1080p is the best for pre-recording, because if you record 4K or bigger, it's gonna take a long time to edit, and it just makes your computer really slow. And 4K isn't necessary, because when you post it, it usually compresses it to be 1080 or 720, depending if you're going live or not.
So I know we got a couple of questions about music and being copyrighted. I guess for those of you that are using tracks, we are trying to get a little bit more information about that. We're asking some of our resources. So we'll try to release something about that, or if we have another webinar, we'll talk about that as well. But Brother Dominique put in there, any music you sing under creative license, you should be okay. If you are using someone else's music, you'll get dinged for copyright. So like I said, we'll go ahead and research that a little bit more. We are contacting a few of our resources that have done different recordings for the assembly and trying to get a little bit more answers for you guys. Any other questions before we head out? So Brother Adam said, Google Hangouts allows you 25 people. Zoom is made for larger, but if you're doing like your small groups, I've seen a lot of people use Google Hangouts. Brother Dominique? Your audio is not on.
One last comment. We have to remember what we found through our analytics and statistics is that we're getting a lot of the young people online. What we're missing, the demographics of those who are like in their 50s and up. I physically went to a couple of our older brothers' homes. Even a couple of them don't even have the internet. Now they may have a smartphone, so I set them all up on being able to click on YouTube in their subscription and be able to get our channel. I set them up with a ding notification, a bell notification. But there's a whole group of people that may not even be getting, and they're kind of embarrassed to say that they're not online, just so you know. So we have to also think about those people when you're marketing and you're figuring out who your audience is.
Amen.
Just a small comment.
Yeah, that's really good. We actually have had to implement a lot of extra communication at our church because we do have a good group of young couples, but the majority is older people. So we've had to create a lot of extra communication. We use MailChimp to send out to people's emails. We use it because it's free. It's a free resource. It's really good. MailChimp.com. And so we send out different emails throughout the week to everybody. We just signed up with a texting app to text everybody at our church. Our pastor has assigned all of our ministers, a group of families to call each week, just to kind of remind them to watch online, to be interactive online. So we've taken a lot of extra measures to communicate. I'll go ahead, if anybody has a texting app, put it in the chat. I don't know what our church is using, just because I did not set it up, but I will find out for you guys and put it in there. But if anybody has a texting app, I know there's a few out there, put it in the chat. There we go. So yeah, we've taken some extra measures just to communicate with everybody. All right, any other last minute questions that you guys might have? You can, if you want to unmute your mic and ask, or if you want to put it in the chat, I'll just give like a few minutes just so we make sure we got everybody. Awesome. Thank you guys for the feedback. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Sister Norma, for being on. It's awesome to see you. So thank you guys so much. I hope that this has been helpful. Michelle kind of hit it right on the head. It can be so overwhelming, especially if you're new to this, but we're here to help you guys. And I did want to share, I'm going to put up our Instagram names. Most of us are pretty active on Instagram, but I want you guys to have our names here. If you have any questions, and I sincerely mean this, if you have any questions, if you need help with anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Some of you have my information directly. You can message me on Facebook. If I don't know the answer, I will get somebody who knows the answer. And we're all available to help. We know that this is a time where it can be overwhelming if you've never done this before. If you have been doing this for a while, this is like a dream come true and you're in La La Land right now trying to get all this going, but this can be very overwhelming. So if there's anything you did not understand today, please feel free to reach out to us and we will do our best to get you the answer. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and ask Haido if he can go ahead and just dismiss us with the word of prayer.
Sure. Thank you guys for joining in, and let's go ahead and pray to dismiss. Thank you, Jesus, God, for this day, just for allowing us to come together, Lord, and just be able to get equipped and look at resources and learn about this shift that's happening, God, in our world, God, and in our churches. I ask, God, that you use each and every person that was in this call, Lord, and even those that aren't in this call, God, that you may continue using them, their media teams, God. I ask that you guide the pastors, Lord, during these times that are just confusing, or we not sure what to do or what not to do, God. I just ask that each and every person, God, we may look to you for guidance in everything, God. And in this time, God, that your spirit may flow, God, through each and every live stream that is prepared, each pre-recording that is done, God, that your spirit may move and change lives, God, and bring comfort to those. We thank you, God, for this time. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen. God bless you, everybody. Thank you for being here. God bless
you guys.